Did it really happen? Did it really happen? The dust has finally settled on that incredible night at St James's Park on Tuesday, and the last word is coming up. Not with any specific topics, just to talk about what has been one of the most incredible weeks in our lives as Newcastle fans and in the club's recent history. I've just about processed it, still struggling, but make sure you stick around as we talk all things Eddie Howe's Wembley Mags. It's coming up. Welcome back to Black and White Banter. You lovely, you sexy, you beautiful, you wonderful Newcastle fans. And you're getting that extra dollop of enthusiasm on the intro. Do you know why? Because Eddie Howe's Mags are going to Wembley. The Geordies are on Wembley Way. The Geordies are in Trafalgar Square Fountain. The Geordies are invading London for what will be one of the most incredible weekends there has ever been. If you are new to Black and White Banter, Newcastle fans, or if you're not new, if you're one of our lovely subscribers, which are on the increase all the time, please drop down, give us one of them now, before this video even continues. That goes a very, very long way and does you no effort at all to just hit that like. And if you like my opinion by the end of this video, drop down and whack that subscribe and keep those numbers going up. It's amazing to see. It really, really is. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this video, my head's been in my backside. It really has. And normally when I do these last word videos, what's been more recently, I'll choose 3 topics to discuss. That's not happening on this video. We are just going to talk about that night. Because yes, I did my match vlog. And if you haven't already checked it out, we had flares, we had fan reactions, we had almost fan tears talking to me after the game. Emotions inside the stadium, you name it. So go down after you've watched this and check out my match vlog. But wow, what a night. What an absolutely incredible night to generally be associated with Newcastle United. Whether you're in the stadium, whether you're over the other end of the world at daft o'clock in the morning in Australia, wherever you were, it was an amazing night. I guess I had to wake up yesterday and pinch myself. It was my birthday yesterday, so it was an amazing early birthday present. But I think I would like to start this last word by and I've said this a million times, thanking every single owner, whether it's Amanda Staveley, Merdad Gadusi, Jamie Rubin, Eddie Howe, Jason Tyndall, Graham Jones, Dan Ashworth, Darren Eales, you name it. Every single one of them people that has allowed this to happen and believed in this football club to take it over a year gone October, the manager for believing in that awful relegation battle we're in that he could turn it round, and all the incredible things they've done, because none of this would have been possible without them. It really, really wouldn't. And yes, Tuesday night was a mixture of emotions. Yes, we made our lives a little bit harder in the second half. Was the game in general one of the better games you've ever watched Newcastle play? No, it really wasn't. We normally batter teams at St James's Park for most of the match. That second half, we were nervy. We were clearing the ball. We were shaky. We were all over the place. Not organisation-wise, but in terms of keeping our heads and passing the ball like we know they can. They were all over the place. But we got over the line. And however we performed in that game wasn't the big factor. We went into that match knowing it just mattered what the final result was, and so it was to be. If I am going to talk about topics from Tuesday's game, first and foremost, I've got to give a huge honourable mention to Sean Longstaff. Now, Sean Longstaff is someone who has come in for a lot of criticism recently from Newcastle fans. He has. And all the fans in that stadium on Tuesday who were singing, Sean Longstaff, he's one of our own. That's going to happen when a player scores 2 goals in a game of that magnitude. But I was also sat there thinking, how many of these people have battered him on Twitter and Facebook for a while? Which, by the way, I'm sure the player sees. Yes, he's missed chances more recently. Yes, he's maybe not natural in front of goal or maybe quick enough out of the pass sometimes. But my God, has that player come on a lot. And anyone who watches my videos regularly knows I've never been one to lace into the lad. I think his work rate and what he does in this team is very, very important. And you couldn't have picked, Dan Burns already had his moment of glory against Leicester. You couldn't have picked a better script than the other local lad in the team who knows how long this team's been starved for success, knows what it means to get to Wembley, banging in 2 goals the way he did. Absolutely wonderful stuff. I was delighted for the kid. Watching his interviews after the game, you can tell he's a shy lad, just loves his football, gets his head down, very humble. And I'm delighted for him. And long may that kind of goal scoring form continue. 2 quite nice goals, if I'm being totally honest with you. So that was the honourable player shout out I just wanted to give. Bruno's red card, that was disappointing. It was a red card. I don't care who. I heard Eddie Howe say that he didn't think it was and he thought it was harsh in the aftermath. If that's the other team, Eddie Howe, as much as I adore the man, is probably saying that VAR's let us down there. It was. They're always worse when you slow them down. Of course they are. But standing on a player's ankle like that with a full boot of studs is dangerous player. It is. And I don't think Bruno's going to be complaining too much about that one, especially not when he watched it back. That leaves us very short in midfield going into the future Premier League matches, including West Ham on Saturday. Because Shelvey left the door, I mean, it's a little bit ironic, isn't it? We get rid of Shelvey out of nowhere from an unexpected bid from Nottingham Forest. We all think we might be okay in that department, just about, with Gordon coming in, who can obviously allow Joe Linton to come into the middle, and then Bruno gets sent off for 3 games. So we are now short. Does that put a reliance on St. Maximin to play more matches? For me, no. And I'm going to touch on him in a second. This is the last word. I'm not just going to talk about my emotions from getting to Wembley. For me, no. I think, yes, that brings Joe Linton to central midfield. That's unquestionable. That's without even thinking. But I'm still not 100% sure on St. Maximin starting. And that's going to lead me on to that. He came on the second half, triple substitution from Eddie Howe. And I just didn't think he did it. I watched spells for the game when I felt like he should have worked harder. I saw spells in the game when he looked a little bit like he was very casually strolling in times when we needed that press because we were under the caution to a degree. We were a little bit panicky. We weren't retaining the ball. That press was a necessity to get the rest of the team up. Yes, he was moved into a more of a striking position at one spell of the game with Isak on the left. And he doesn't like it there. I don't doubt that he doesn't like it there. But I just wasn't very impressed with his work rate at all. It wasn't a half for him to light the game up because we didn't have much of the ball. But I'm not sure on him defensively. I'm really not. And I'm going to continue to say that until he proves me wrong. And I honestly believe that Eddie Howe isn't convinced on him defensively. And I keep saying it and I sound like a stuck record. So for me, going into that West Ham game with these options, and I'll talk about that more in my West Ham match preview, it's a difficult one. I would probably score Joe Linton down the left. Would you give Gordon his debut? How much is that kid going to be chomping at the bit? New lease of life. Full house on your debut at St. James's Park. Under the lights. 5:30 kick-off. Pace to burn. You know he's a grafter. We all know he's a grafter. He's a bit of a hothead. He's a fiery character. I'd maybe give Gordon a start. But yes, Bruno being sent off, to go back to my earlier point, is going to leave us short. Yes, he's going to be fresh for the final, but there's also an argument that he's going to be not as match sharp for the final because that's 3 weeks without football. Get him in. Is he allowed to play in the under-21s? I don't know. I have no idea whether you're allowed to do that when you're going through a ban from the Premier League. Someone in the comments, let me know that. If there's anyone who actually knows that or can Google it for me, let me know. But we are short, and the transfer window wasn't disappointing for me because I never expected many bodies unless they were just adding to the squad to come in. James Maddison was never going to budge. The bigger signings like that weren't going to budge, but Eddie Howe wanted this man. So in Eddie Howe's head, this is a big signing. We have still brought in a £45 million player and a very promising youngster at right back as well. Next point for me has got to be a shout out to Eddie Howe. Now, I've already talked about him, and I know you might be thinking, God, Matthew, stop kissing that guy's ass. Why I'm going to give a shout out to Eddie Howe is because I think on Tuesday he had a game plan that he stuck to, and it almost to a degree worked perfectly. I think Eddie Howe's game plan on Tuesday, this is how we can see an adaptable manager when needs be. I think he told the players to come out all guns blazing, put them to the sword early, because that was one of the fastest paced starts I've ever seen from us so far this season. We were really, really fast out the traps, not faster than we're normal in the Premier League, where we do batter teams, but maybe more in the second half. I think Eddie Howe's game plan with a triple substitution that we never normally see from Eddie Howe, very unorthodox for him, was to put them to the sword as early as possible, kill the game in the first half, then in the second half they will have to throw the kitchen sink at us and we'll hit them on the counter. Isak, Maximin and Murphy, all with pace to burn, coming on it once, was no coincidence in my opinion. Eddie Howe knew they'd be throwing everything at us, happy to surrender possession a little bit and hit them on the counter. Now, the hit them on the counter part didn't work very well. We didn't get enough of the ball. That was maybe the part of Eddie Howe's tactics that didn't go 100% to plan. But I still think Eddie Howe has proven time after time after time that he is a fantastic, adaptable, just progressive manager that is willing to change his ethos and his game management to suit the scenario and suit the magnitude of the fixture. And I could be wrong on that. That is maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist for talking about that as his theory, but that's what I believe Eddie Howe did, and it got us over the line. So well done, Eddie Howe, you absolute legend. Now the final tickets we're going to be clamoring for tickets. We all are. But I think whether you're going to get a ticket, whether you're not going to get a ticket, whether you're going to watch it in the house, whether you're going to watch it in London in Trafalgar Square, whether you're going to watch it over the water, as I've already mentioned, whoever's watching this video from wherever you are in the world, let's just enjoy this moment, Newcastle fans. And I don't know what you think, and I'll talk about this more as the final gets closer, because there's going to be a lot of content coming. I think we can go into this game, because of this current regime we are under, pressure-free. I am going to take, and obviously, of course, I want us to win. I hate Man United. Match day, we are all about a win. But all I'm going to say, worst case scenario, Newcastle fans, this weekend for me in London is a celebration of Ashley leaving, of the takeover, of how far we've come, of Eddie Howe, of Amanda Staveley. One big party in London or in Newcastle in the fan zones. Lots of alcohol, lots of rejoicing, lots of celebrating and singing. And regardless of the result, better times are still coming. So this is not, I'm going to go on record and say this is not the only cup final in the next 5 to 6 years we will be in, or chance of silverware. I'm going to say that now. And that's why we can go into this game that we never expected a year ago in a million gazillion years. Enjoy every moment of it. Push Man United all the way, because I do fancy us, which I'll talk about on another video. But regardless of that, enjoy it, because if yous were anything like me, I was an emotional wreck after that game. Just fathoming Newcastle United being at Wembley Stadium. So let's just enjoy it for what it is. Going to that West Ham game on Saturday, where it's going to be hard to focus your attentions back to the Premier League, but I'm sure the atmosphere will be cracking. And let's just enjoy the next 3 weeks. The build-up to this game, it's like Christmas. The build-up is just as good as the day, if not better, sometimes, depending on the result inside that Wembley Stadium that Sunday. So yeah, Newcastle fans, drop down. Let me know what you thought about Tuesday. Let me know if you're going to Wembley, if you're hoping to go to Wembley, should I say. Let me know how you're feeling, where your emotions are, because and I'm sorry if this video has been a bit higgledy-piggledy, I didn't want to talk about anything too specific today. I just wanted to talk about my team, my club, who are going to Wembley, who are exciting me every day on this roller coaster ride we're on as Newcastle fans. And I'm still processing everything, as you can probably tell. Let me know your thoughts, Newcastle fans, on what has been an absolutely incredible week for this football club. Give us a little like if you've liked my opinion. Haven't thought I've yabbered too much. And whack that subscribe. And I'll touch down for a West Ham match preview where we can retain our focus back to that European qualification. Yes, I've just done a video talking about being in Wembley and then talking about refocusing on getting in the Champions League. That's how great it has been a Newcastle fan. And I'll see you on the next one. Away the lads.